Hi there, I'm Michelle Pegler of Gingy Makes Quilts, and I'm here with my annual quilt trunk show to talk about all the quilts that I finished in 2024. Today is January 10th, 2025, and it'll be a shorter video than in past years because I actually didn't make that many quilts. One especially took me a long time, and we'll get to that later. So the first quilt I made this year is a pattern by Emily Dennis of Quilty Love called Star Pop. And she has two versions of this quilt, one that has more square blocks and one that has kind of tall rectangular blocks. So I've made the square block version for a bed quilt for my son in prior years, and I wanted to try the other version of it, so decided to do that this year. And I made this gorgeous kind of twin size quilt out of a collection called Planetarium. So it's got kind of a planet space theme to it, but it's not like traditional, dark background with planets and stars on it type of look. It has lots of different colors in the collection and kind of more modern takes on outer space themed prints. So let me hold it up for you. I decided to do a kind of rainbow fade, starting with the warm colors in the top, going down to the cooler colors at the bottom of the quilt. I went to the store to pick an accent fabric that I thought went really well with all the colors, and I got this like kind of hot pink fuchsia that is from, I believe, the Speckled collection. So it has kind of an outer space look to it as well. But you can see these prints are really neat. Like this one's a meteor shower. This one is like phases of the moon. So a little bit non-traditional space themed fabrics. And I just loved all the colors and the prints. And I put navy on the back since I think that's a nice neutral that would go good with all the colors. And I did abacus as the pantograph. You can see that on there. Abacus is one of my go-to like geometric pantographs that looks great on pretty much any type of quilt. So really love this. Thought about selling it earlier this year, but I might just give it away to a friend for her daughter to use on her bed. I'm not quite decided yet, but I do think it'd be a really fun kids quilt that could kind of grow with them as they get older and even like go to college with them. So we'll see. The second quilt I made this year is the one that took me the longest, probably a couple hundred hours. First of all, because of the piecing, but then the custom quilting that I put on it took a long time as well. So the story behind this Koalas quilt is that I took my daughter to QuiltCon with me a couple years ago and let her pick a fabric bundle from all of the different kiosks that she really liked. So we went through pretty much every one. She looked at all the options, and the one that she liked the best was a bundle of Tula Pinks, Tiny Dots, and Stripes. And like, who wouldn't love that, right? Just the bright colors are so amazing. So we brought the bundle home. I let her look through my book of patterns that I already had, and she found this Koalas quilt pattern by Elizabeth Hartman. And I looked at it and said, okay, I can probably make that work. There happen to be 12 koalas on the quilt, and there are 24 fabrics in the Tiny Dots and Stripes collection. So it actually worked out perfectly for me to be able to use all 24 fabrics, where each koala has two of the fabrics, one for the main body and then one for the ears. So I went to my local quilt shop to find coordinating fabrics to go alongside, used like some solids for the bamboo or eucalyptus, whatever koalas eat, and then solid green, solid black and white for their faces. And then you can't really tell as well, not in person, but the background here that's black, it's actually a black sparkly swirly metallic kind of, not metallic, it's sparkly. It's a fabric I've used before that I really love as a background. So in person it kind of sparkles, not as easy to see in the video. So I'll show this to you. I did make a couple other like longer videos about making this quilt earlier this year. If you're interested in the process for that, you go check it out. I made one about the piecing of it, of how I sped up the piecing. Each one of these koalas has 72 pieces to it, so they take a long time. And then I also made a video, actually I think 2 videos, about the custom quilting I did on this whole quilt, which was very fun. So again, I guess this is just my thing for the year. I decided to start at the top with the warmer colors and then go down into the cooler colors like the pinks and purples at the bottom. My daughter picked this Cuddle bright pink for the back, and then we put teal on the edge. And I'll give you a close-up of a couple of my favorite koalas that I quilted. I had to pick a different pantograph for each one because that's what my daughter asked for. Let's see. I really like the leaf one on the green koala. I also really like this double clamshell I came up with for one of the purple ones. And then this heart on the brightest pink I thought turned out really nice. So yeah, I did all this quilting kind of free hand, self-guided on my long arm. And I did use a ruler in one place, which was when I decided to do a crosshatch on this dark blue koala. But other than that, this is all just hand-guided custom quilting. It was super fun to work on. The thread is a variegated rainbow thread, which again doesn't really come across very well in the video, but it's really obvious when you can see it in person, and I just absolutely love it, as does my daughter. So now she sleeps with this on her bed. The next quilt I made this year was actually, I think I made one for my friend first. So I'll show a picture of it here since I already gave it away. It was a pattern by Susie Quilts called New Horizons. It's a pretty modern pattern that's on point. I had been saving this fabric collection called Deco by Juicy Juice. It's another one that I have got at QuiltCon a few years ago. I remember being there that year, and I went through all the kiosks, and I was like, okay, I can treat myself to one fabric bundle since I, you can never have too much fabric. And I just wanted something to remember the QuiltCon by. And I narrowed it down to 2 bundles, and then I kept going back and forth between these 2 kiosks trying to decide, like, okay, which of these bundles do I like better? And I figured out that they were actually both by Juicy Juice. So the one that I ended up picking is called Deco, and the one I didn't pick I think is called like Fabrics in the Attic or something like that. But they were both really nice, just such good like color variety, and I knew that I would love either one. So the Deco I decided to use in the New Horizons pattern, and gifted it to a friend this year. She is really into like Art Deco style, and so I thought the fabrics were really nice for her. And then also the pantograph that I put on it is called Pendant Light, and it also had kind of an Art Deco feel to it. I actually used it sideways. I had to load the quilt sideways based on the dimensions of my backing and everything. So I remember sitting there at my computer looking at like dozens of different pantographs and tilting my head to the side and being like, well, how will that look if it's sideways? And the one that I found, Pendant Light, I think turned out awesome on it. I love how it turned out. And so did she. So that one was really fun to work on. And then the last quilt that I finished this year is one that, again, I was just like in love with this fabric collection, so bought myself a layer cake of it and took a while to decide what I wanted to make from it. So it's kind of 4th of July themed, but again, not your traditional 4th of July prints, even though it is traditional 4th of July colors. I decided to use a free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop called Layer Cake Tumble. It's a pattern that goes together really quickly. I picked this medium solid blue to be the like accent fabric for all the layer cake prints. And so I'll show it to you. So I decided to kind of make these diagonal strips of the different color families. So I did like a strip of this medium blue, then the darker navy, then white, then red, then back to kind of medium, then dark. So I really love how it turned out once that was all put together. I'll give you a close-up of some of these prints because they're so cute. Number one, don't you just love a quilt print that looks like a quilt block? Like these look like they're pieced little quilt stars, so love that. And then here too, this is like an orange peel print. There's also this nice firework print that I loved. This was like the hero print, honestly, on this collection that made me have to pull the trigger on it. I quilted it with a pantograph called Golden Curls that I've used before, and I went super small scale on it just because I'm loving super dense quilting these days. I again did a navy on the back and was able to use some leftover red sparkle cuddle fabric that I have from a prior couple quilts I've made with this fabric as the backing. I had enough to use it as the binding around this quilt, and I thought that was like a fun little detail for it to be a 4th of July quilt, because who doesn't love some red sparkles, right? So that was the last quilt that I made this year. It's like a nice kind of throw lap quilt size, so definitely will be busting it out around July to use around the house. Another thing that happened this year that I didn't even mention yet is I actually decided to quit my normal job and do quilting full time. So I have been working in data analytics and business strategy consulting for over 10 years. And then earlier this year, my husband's job started getting to be more demanding, especially requiring him to travel quite a bit. So after going back and forth a lot, we decided that I would take a break from my also quite demanding consulting job to have more flexibility in my schedule, be the point person for all the kids' activities and all the times that they're homesick from school, which was 4 out of 5 days this week in particular. So it's been really nice to be able to be around more when all the unexpected things come up with the kids. Also, I'm not sitting at my desk throughout the day all day. I get to be up and moving around and, you know, getting outside more, and then of course working on quilting more, which is fun for me. And so I've been doing lots of customer quilts as well in the latter half of the year, and I love getting to see what other people put together. Just everyone's creativity just blows me away always. And so yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to in 2025. I've got so many quilts that I want to make for myself or for friends, and then continue working on customer quilts. I don't yet have a decision on what I'm going to put in the state fair this year. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, the koala quilt won the blue ribbon for the professional division of quilting at the Oregon State Fair, which I was so proud of. Just based on the tiers of the experience levels, I had to enter it in professional this year because of how many years I've been quilting and the fact that I work on other people's quilts for money. That makes me a professional now, I guess. So I've only been quilting for 4 years, but I'm professional, and I got the blue ribbon at the fair, which was super exciting for me, and I felt really proud because I did put so much time into making that quilt. So yeah, that is where I'm at. And if I make more custom quilting quilts this year, I will probably make some videos about it. But feel free to tell me in the comments what other things you would want me to make a video about if you want to see what I'm working on. I'm not great at editing videos, but I do my best. So hope you all had a great holiday season, and great things for you in 2025. Thank you for watching.